That's not my problem. Oh, I saw the video. Did you watch it? That was amazing.
Good evening and welcome to the April 26, 2016 meeting of Pequannock Township Council. Ms. Marsh.
In accordance with the requirements of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was included in the annual meeting notice, which was filed in the office of the Township Clerk, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, published as legal notice in the Suburban Trends newspaper, and distributed to all persons requesting notice in accordance with Township policy.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a prayer and a moment of thanks for individuals serving our nation. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Most gracious Providence, we ask that you bless this governing body with an abundance of wisdom and understanding, so that every deliberation will result in actions which will promote the common good and the general welfare for all the people of Pequannock Township. Amen.
Amen.
The clerk will please call the roll.
Mrs. Florence Lynch? Here. Mr. Cole?
Here.
Mr. Phelan?
Here.
Mr. Vanderhoff?
Here.
Ms. Winterfield? Here.
Next on the agenda is presentations. There are no presentations scheduled for this evening. At this time, are there any reports or comments from volunteers serving our community? Louise?
Hi, Louise Marchese of 16 Roland Road, recording secretary for EDC. Our last meeting was on March the 23rd. We are still in the process of getting Megan Hunter to come back and visit with our group. She is with Morris County Development, and we'd like very much to bring her back and gain her insight into different issues. Also, we've spoke with Melissa about having the council maybe do a walkthrough through town, through the business districts, and get suggestions from all of you about what could possibly be done, in the future. We also spoke about putting the flyer in the tax bill again this year. That's the property rewards flyer. We hope to do that. We've also discussed possibly revamping the town's website to make it a little more user-friendly and easier to navigate. We're discussing putting together an ordinance, something I've been speaking about for some time now, about how landlords should be leaving the buildings once a tenant has moved out. Get specs on that. One member in particular of our group is still trying to get us to go along with the bid program, and we'll see. That may be workable in town. We're not exactly sure. Also, it was discussed that maybe at some time we can look at the permits that are required. We know as a fact there's a few businesses that would like to make different adjustments outside their business, and what's holding them up is the large fees that are going to be involved to get that type of work done. And we don't want to hear that. We don't want somebody to hold back on getting something done just because of the fees that are involved. Also, the town guide, we hope to get an article in the next issue about the accomplishments of EDC. And I just wanted the group to know that every time I send out a message about grand openings, I do also copy Fred Salamanca from the Town Guide and Carmine DeFalco from FinCredit. We hope to get Lisa from Crestwood Consultants in front of the council to give her presentation about the results of the survey. New businesses. We did a grand opening last Thursday for Farmers Insurance. The next grand opening will be Jersey Mike's on May the 4th at 9:45. Their location is right next to Home Goods, 500 Route 23 North. And I'm happy to say we have giant scissors now, which are going to look great in the pictures of future grand openings. And that's about all I have. Thank you, everybody.
May 4th at...
May 4th, 9:45, but I'll be sending out a reminder email.
On my calendar.
As always.
Are there any other reports from volunteers serving the community? Okay, next on the agenda is public comment. The next item on the agenda, public comment. The public comment period will be limited to a total of 30 minutes. An additional period for public comment is reserved later in the meeting. Individuals are requested to limit their questions and comments to 3 minutes. If anyone wishes to address the council, please wait to be recognized and come to the microphone and provide your name and address for the record. Are there anyone that would like to come up for the public comment?
My name's Edward Cholander. I live in Cedar Crest, and I'm going to ask if the council has heard of the Yellow Dot and the Red Dot program. They've both been authorized by Governor Christie. Unfortunately, he didn't supply any funds to go with it. The Yellow Dot simply is you get a yellow envelope, you put your medical history and a picture in it, you put it in your glove compartment, you put a yellow sticker on your back window, and the first responders see the yellow sticker. They know that you're a diabetic, you have heart problems, whatever, and it might speed up your treatment. The red bag is something similar, but it's for a householder. You get a red bag, you put it in your refrigerator, you put a red dot on your front door, and again, the first responders know if they go to your refrigerator and open the red bag, they know what medicines you're taking, what your medical problems might be, and it might speed up treatment. So if you haven't heard of it, I respectfully ask that you look into it, and I think it will be a great health advantage to both the motorists who are going to get faster treatment when their first responders arrive, and to the homeowner. Thank you very much for your time.
Before you go, I'll mention it. I happen to be the liaison to the first aid squad. I will mention it to them at the next meeting.
Okay.
I'm not aware of this. I never heard of it before.
Well, I heard about it at the Orange meeting, the Organization of Retirement Associations in New Jersey, from a fire chief from down near South Freehold, and according to him, it would cost approximately $2 to $3 per person.
It's a minimal cost, and it'd be well worth it because, as you know, we're up at Cedar Crest
Yes.
quite a few times, and other areas.
It might be a big help if you.
Yeah, I will bring it to their attention, and if you come to the next council meeting, I'll let you know what they say.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Dave, does Health Department still sponsor the BioLife? That was like 15 years ago, but.
And BioLife and medical alert bracelets, I mean, they are still valid, and EMS knows to look for them.
So that was a program we had from the Health Department called BioLife,
Yeah.
very similar.
This is supposedly replacing it. They want to do it nationwide.
Okay.
All right. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the public? There be no additional public comment. We'll continue on with the agenda. Next on the agenda, public hearing. Public hearing for the 2016 municipal budget. Mr. Holberg.
Okay. Township budget was introduced 4 weeks ago. Total budget is $17,991,937. The tax rate, the tax rate is anticipated to go up 1.75% as a result. Basically, it provides for our ongoing operations, similar service levels. The key drivers to the budget this year, pension costs increasing by about $91,000. Wages overall are increasing a little over 2%. All of our contracts have a 2% increase at this point. The police siren wages going up 2.7 as a result of step increases because we have quite a few employees on the lower end of the scale. Group health insurance increasing by $48,000. While that number is a driver in the budget, the percent increase at 3.4% is significantly less than state health benefits. The one new item in this budget is the anticipation of $25,000 of revenue that was received for flood expenses that we're going to apply towards a resident flood advocate position, which once the budget is adopted, we will advertise for and hopefully have hired within a few months. The purpose of that position is to improve and coordinate all of the various aspects of the things that we do regarding flooding, flood mitigation, flood preparation, communication, all of the grant opportunities that are available, and all of the interaction that we do with our residents that are impacted by flooding. We continue to fund our debt service and capital program. We do not anticipate, and this budget will not increase our debt. It actually decreases debt, and we anticipate paying off all of our general obligation debt by 2019, which has been the plan for a number of years now. There are packages available right down here which provide the overview, the summary that council has seen in your workshops. It also provides a series of bullet points. The one thing that I would point out, which we have started to provide over the last couple of years, is Pequannock's comparative tax burden, both municipal and total, within Morris County, and we compare very favorably. We are below average on both counts and in the bottom quarter of all municipalities in Morris County. Council's pretty familiar with it. We introduced, like I said, 4 weeks ago. Tonight is the public hearing.
Okay. Are there any comments from the council?
Dave, just one quick question on the digital radios. What are we doing about the pagers? Are we still going to broadcast analog or what?
Yeah, the pagers do not need to change. Matter of fact, all of the chiefs, EMS, 2 Fire, police, myself met with the radio guy last week to go over all of the final planning and preparation. The pagers do not need to be changed.
Okay.
They will continue to work on analog. We have been dual broadcasting on both high band and low band. But we will be doing away with low band. Other than that, everything else will continue to work. The frequencies are not changing, so we should be able to communicate with our mutual aid partners as we have in the past. The radio equipment is capable of communicating with analog equipment as well as digital equipment.
So our base is going to broadcast in digital or analog?
Digital. We will be broadcasting in digital, but we will be able to hear communities that are broadcasting on analog.
When do you anticipate going to digital?
The planning process is about 60 days. As a result of the meeting last week, they're going to basically download all of the pre-programmed frequencies on all of the hand units and mobiles. They're going to come up with a master list, which they will distribute to each agency to sign off on. If there's any changes that need to be made, we'll do that then. Once we have our capital program in place, we'll issue the final purchase orders. So they told us that the changeover, once all the planning is done, should take about 2 weeks. So by September.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. We put enough money aside, right?
Yes.
Okay. Improvement in our radio broadcasting is any fireman in this room would know.
Any other comments from council?
I was just going to say, I know Dave worked hard on this, and his staff and the council worked countless hours on this, and you know, as Dave did a good job summing up, to maintain our service levels in some areas and improve them in others, and along with pension costs and health care and stuff like that, you know, I think we did a great job.
I agree. Anything else, Ken?
Yeah, no comment.
Okay. Is there a motion to open the public hearing of the 2016 municipal budget?
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
If there's anyone in the audience has questions or comments on this budget, please come to the microphone and identify yourself for the record. No? All right. Is there a motion to close the public hearing of the municipal budget?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Mr. Vanderhoff?
Yes.
Ms. Winterfield?
Yes.
Mayor Cole?
Yes. Next on the agenda is public hearing on ordinance number 2016-05. Ms. Marsh.
This is an ordinance authorizing the sale of certain property owned by the Township of Pequannock, known as Block 4101, Lot 13, which is not required for public purposes pursuant to NJSA 40A:12-13 at sequence.
Are there any comments from the council?
No, we discussed
Yeah,
this
we
numerous
discussed
times.
If anyone in the audience has a question or comment on this ordinance, please come to the microphone and identify yourself for the record. Is there a motion to adopt this ordinance?
I'll make that motion to adopt ordinance 2016-05.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Mr. Vanderhoff?
Yes.
Ms. Winterfield?
Yes.
Mayor Cole?
Yes. Next is our public hearing on ordinance 2016-06. Ms. Marsh.
This is an ordinance amending Chapter 152 of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Pequannock and prohibiting sump pump connections to the sanitary sewer system.
Are there any comments on this one from the council?
No, we discussed this in depth.
Yeah, this one we discussed it. That's a good one.
If anyone in the audience has questions or comments on this ordinance, please come to the microphone and identify yourself for the record. Is there a motion to adopt this
I
ordinance?
make a motion to introduce 2016-06, approve.
A second?
Roll call.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Ms. Winterfield?
Yes.
Mr. Vanderhoff?
Yes.
Mayor Cole?
Yes. Next on the agenda is ordinance introductions. Ms. Marsh.
This is ordinance 2016-07, an ordinance authorizing the acquisition of property by donation from the Passaic River Coalition, which is known as Block 902, Lot 12.
Mr. Holbert, do you have any comments on this?
No, this is at the request of Passaic River Coalition. They are divesting of a lot of their holdings. We had supported their application for Morris County Open Space a couple of years ago when they acquired this. With the passing of their executive director, they've changed their mission a little bit. So this actually works in nicely to our open space plan and is one of the properties along the Riverwalk.
And it's free.
And it's free.
Are there any?
Well, just real quick, another comment to that. Didn't the owner of that piece of property try to sell it to us for some exorbitant amount of
Yes,
money?
I did.
Well, more than we believed it was worth it.
Okay. And we said no, and so the
Now we have
Passaic River Coalition bought it, and then we end up with it anyway.
Yes.
For less than we offered.
Any other comments from the council?
No, it's not
I
good.
would make a motion to introduce 2016-07.
Second?
Roll call.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Mr. Vanderhoff?
Yes.
Ms. Winterfield?
Yes.
Mayor Cole?
Yes. Next on the agenda is resolutions. Ms. Marsh.
Beginning with Resolution 2016-89, authorizing the reinstatement of a special sewer assessment payment plan. 2016-90, approving the designated special event permit applications. 2016-91, adopting the Pequannock Township floodplain management plan as an official plan of the Township of Pequannock. 2016-92, authorizing a contract for professional services to Spinelli and Pinto Consulting, LLC, in an amount not to exceed $6,000 for open space services. 2016-93, awarding a contract to Cefelli & Sons Contracting, Inc. for Hannah Court and Michael Court drainage improvements in the amount of $35,999. R 2016-94, awarding a contract for Boulevard Sidewalk Reconstruction Phase 2 to CMS Construction, Inc. for the contract amount of $140,644 in accordance with the bid specifications. And R 2016-95, approving payment of the itemized claims as set forth on the April 21st, 2016 bill list.
Thank you. Are there any comments on the resolution from council? Dave, where's the boulevard sidewalk starting and where are they ending? Is that going to complete the entire boulevard?
It will, and you're preempting my report. However, it's from Della to Lincoln Park Road on the northbound side or east side of the street. It will complete the entire boulevard, the entire length on both sides. Yes. This was the project that was bid last year and the contractor failed.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
Go ahead.
2016-93, Dave, on the Michael Court drainage.
Yes.
Is that all resolved with that homeowner and their fence?
Yes. I met with them, and subsequently Joe has met with them. I explained, there was a change in ownership along
Yes.
the way. It was a previous homeowner that was really the primary impetus for this project.
Yeah. And I saw the permit that you pulled too, where it clearly
Yeah.
stated. Yeah.
So after I met with them and explained what the township's position was in terms of moving this project forward and why it was put on our task list in the first place, they said we really were not in the position to deal with the fence, and they were going to need to do that if they wanted. So I think once there was understanding of what everyone's responsibilities were, we moved forward. And so the project will
it'll
get
move
done
along
and the fence will
calmly.
get moved and everyone will hopefully be happy.
Okay. That's good.
Melissa, did you say you had?
No, real quick, I was just going to say on the contract for, was it Spinelli, the 2016 dash, I can't read that, 92.
This-
That
this
main
is-
thing is for the help with the easements and stuff like that?
Yeah, this is our open space advisory contract.
Right.
We are going to change our advisor.
Okay.
We
So
had
this
kind
is-
of considered this last year.
So these, we are making that change?
We are,
Okay.
yes.
Did
And
we pay
that's,
$12,000 last year?
well, it's the same price. It's $1,000 a month.
Right.
This
That's half
is
a year.
a
Right.
6-month contract.
So that's why.
They have good references though.
Yeah, that seemed like
And
they
the
did.
Open Space Committee 100% supported the
They
change.
thought, okay.
Right.
All right.
No other comments? Is there a motion to adopt these resolutions?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution R 2016-89 through R 2016-95.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Mr. Vanderhoff?
Yes.
Ms. Winterfield? Yes. Mayor Cole?
Yes. Next on the agenda is items for discussion. Municipal Pipeline Group membership. Where do you want to start?
What's their discussion?
Well, a couple other neighboring communities have been circulating some information relative to this pipeline group, and they're looking for municipalities to become members of it. Bob and I have reviewed the information, and our concern is that the tasks to be accomplished by this don't really seem to accomplish anything other than what we've already discussed and determined we didn't think was a prudent move. It seems as though they're looking for the group to hire someone to develop an ordinance.
They are. And to fight it legally.
Well, I don't see that that is any, they're for the $5,000 they're going to develop an ordinance.
Which we don't want to pass. Makes no sense.
So I don't know where you guys want to go with this. If there's, I think there's an opportunity for municipalities to join together with a common goal of staying informed and providing some type of common unified front when and if an application is put forward. And there's probably something that can be done through the League of Municipalities because they already have the format for this type of municipal coordination rather than an ad hoc committee that's being driven by outside forces and could serve to prejudice our ability to look at an application cleanly.
I'm in favor of doing something to try to prevent this, whether it be through the municipal pipeline group or through the League of Municipalities. I don't want to be the one that didn't do anything and have it go through Pequannock and not have it go through Montville because Montville did something about it.
I 100% agree with that statement. It's, I feel like we need to do something. I just don't know what it is. If we don't do anything, that's exactly the fear.
So it's actually less expensive to pass an ordinance that may not do anything.
Right.
Well,
But
according to what I've heard, because I went to the one meeting on a Saturday in Chatham, and the lawyer that they're looking to, they have 11 members, 11 towns already that have agreed to contribute $5,000 towards this legal fee. The first thing he's going to do is create an ordinance that the towns can use, because he's got some concerns with some of the ordinances that have been created already by some towns. And he thinks that he would be able to come up with a better ordinance than what has already been approved by some towns. Again, I don't want to be the one just to sit back and do nothing and have it go through Pequannock just because we did nothing.
I agree with you, Dave, but to spend $5,000 for somebody else to write an ordinance,
Well, I think it's more than just writing an ordinance.
well, I don't want to go into something that I'm spending $5,000 and then I have to spend more. That's
Well,
crazy.
Well, Bob, you looked at the contract. I'm in agreement that if it's 5,000, I'm willing to say yes to the 5,000. After that, I'm not willing to say yes to anything.
Is that an open contract or a closed contract? $5,000, that's it.
Here's open.
No, that's not it. It's open, but let's be careful. Anytime you enter a contract for legal services, even if it's a group contract, and the decision is made, we've had enough, under lawyers' role and for professional responsibility, they would have to back out of the contract. So in other words, you pay for the work that was done at any time. You decide you want to stop it and get out of this. But let's not. They anticipate it being more than that. I mean, the contract
Right.
talks about a monthly
When you
fee
read it.
paid by each municipality.
Now-
Right? So when you read it, it's an anticipated contract.
Right, so where's the end to it? When we say that
Well,
we're at the end?
Or I
This is so
suppose when
that they
it's,
could write an ordinance?
And what is this guy's success rate? That I don't know anything about this attorney. I don't know anything about him.
No offense, Bob, but attorneys are there.
I've met a lot of people who are useless.
Well, and
No
Does
offense,
he
but
have
that's what I'm
business
saying. I don't know
experience?
anything about this
Yeah.
attorney or his success rate. I don't know anything about him.
Well, does anyone remember, I mean, this name stands out, that were these at the league telling us that we were not going to make a decision on the pipeline?
Yes, I sat in that meeting, and that's why this is
This is one of the-
counterintuitive to
this
whatever
is
they
one of
told
the,
us. They told
firms,
us
right?
that it would be the DEP that decides this.
Right,
And they
this
said
is
we're
one
gonna
of the
no
firms
say.
that was, one of the lawyers that was speaking,
Yeah.
that told us that we are not going to make the decision. And now,
Now he sees money.
Yeah, but there's also the.
I mean, I agree with Dave, I have no problem, it's 5,000, but it's not going to be 5,000.
It's not gonna be public.
He's gonna be a lot
If
more
the
than
council
5,000.
moves forward, I think you should have a dollar amount saying, we're not
I
going to
think
pass
it's
this.
just false hope.
I think it's false hope too. I mean, I'm okay with $5,000, but 5,001 cents, that's it.
But my concern is,
It's,
they were speaking that the towns don't have a hope.
Well, there was a whole panel of them there that day, and they did the pluses and minuses, but I think it was 90%, you don't have a chance, 10% you might have a chance,
well, every little chance.
I think
counts,
that's his
right?
point. If we do nothing now, then, they'll be like, well,
So
your
why don't we
chance
pass
is
an
up.
ordinance then? We do that, we say $5,000, we're done, right?
Exactly, you could.
That's the same thing. I'm willing to pass an ordinance and say $5,000.
Well, why don't we wait till they do the ordinance and just cut?
There you go.
Then we'll have the same effect.
Right, right.
There's a few people from the pipeline.
Yeah.
We're going to open it up to the public for a short time. Does anyone want to speak? Yes, go ahead.
This is an alternative to that.
Like I said, I've only been to one meeting, so.
We're gonna hear the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, Ken Delsky,
Right.
Winfield Drive, Parsippany. you're not alone in your concerns. I was at Livingston last night, and there were some of the same questions. I think there has been a lot of miscommunication from the pipeline group itself, some of which I'm not very happy about as well. So my understanding, and I've not been allowed to attend their meetings, is that, first of all, the $5,000 would be a retainer, and the retainer agreement would also enable the attorney to bring in environmental experts to do a survey that would be used when Pilgrim comes to the DEP. And they're also planning to do an ordinance out of that. But I think you can get out of the ordinance, but let me tell you about the other piece, because it's really much more important. I don't think you need to do the ordinance, and I suggest you don't even bother if you don't want to. The problem that this is going to solve with the DEP is that when the Pilgrim Pipeline or any other entity comes to the DEP and makes an application, they hired their environmental consultants and they present the information to the DEP. DEP has to evaluate it to see, is this accurate, is it valid, is it leave out anything, and they don't do their own work. So what the most important thing is that we wanted to do was have that group hire environmental experts. There's a group that's been identified called Princeton Hydro that does this all the time, so that they can look at the claims that Pilgrim was going to make in front of the DEP and counter them, and basically say you left out this, this isn't truthful, whatever. The idea being to try and fight this and prevent them from getting their 401c water permit. Because if we can stop it there, that's it. Then you don't have to worry about litigation, because then there's nothing else that's going to happen. And since when the permitting process takes 90 days, it starts the day that Pilgrim applies to the DEP, it's not enough time to start our clock and start looking for somebody who could do this work and then engage them, get people together to do a joint funding. We have to get this done ahead of time. So that's one of the most important things that the $5,000 is going to go towards.
The retainer of $5,000, right?
I believe it's a retainer.
Right, retainer, the word retainer.
Yeah, because it's per hour.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, which could be used up in 2 days.
Less than 2 days.
I can't, I don't know, but I know that they're allocating some for this study.
So Ken, it would actually be cheaper for us, the town, for us to do the ordinance. And
So the ordinance, I think the ordinance is a red herring here.
Yeah,
okay.
we know it is.
If you want to do an ordinance and you want to do it cheaply and you want a good one, we already did one in Parsippany that uses, regulation and zoning laws, and I can give it to you and you guys can adopt it. In fact, that's what I tried to do with the MPG group.
Right.
No, but we did another one in Parsippany a couple of months ago, like a month ago, 2 months ago, that was not a blanket prohibition like the other ordinances, which is what people are concerned about, and I understand that. But we did one that said, the pipeline is prohibited in residential zones, it's allowed in other zones with, certain restrictions, and so everybody agreed that it would be a stronger ordinance than the first one, which all the towns did as a blanket prohibition.
So if I hear you right, Ken, the first ordinance that you came here with, you've already done a second ordinance because the first ordinance that you said we should do is no good.
It's not as strong. We've had some people who thought it was strong, but it was what had been done in Chatham. I had nothing else in hand, and we gave it to the towns and said, here's one that somebody has done. Why don't you take a look at it and do it?
Okay, I agree with Dave and I agree with the rest of the council that we don't want that pipeline here. We don't want that pipeline here.
No, I understand.
But, when the word retainer and $5,000, when my attorney says, look, when I went through my divorce, he said, I need a retainer for $5,000. $72,000 later, I was divorced, okay? Right. So,
look, I cannot address that. In Livingston last night, they had concerns, and they spent an hour. The mayor said he spent an hour on the phone with Mayor Harris from Chatham Borough, and wanted a structure to this that gave the town more control. And I believe what Harris was going to do was, instead of having the contract be between the MPG group and the attorney, was that every town would have their own contract and could therefore have, I guess, have more control and cancel it. I'm not an expert, but that seemed to make him happy. So I think you can ask for whatever you want in the way of a structure to this that'll give you more control. And if you don't want to pay to have them do an ordinance that you don't want, then I suggest you ask them how much of that $5,000 is going towards an ordinance, and take that amount off of your $5,000. Parsippany doesn't want to pay for an ordinance. We have one. Livingston is doing a new ordinance. Their planners are working on it. They don't want to pay for it. I would think if enough towns say, you know what, we either have one or we don't want to pay you for one, they'll back off and maybe take it out of the package. Towns that want to get together and do an ordinance with this attorney on their own, they can do it. So I wouldn't let that, I would fight it. In other words, I would just tell them, here's what I would like, here's what I don't like, and don't just take what they give you.
Does anyone have a problem with Ken sending the ordinance to Dave from Parsippany?
No, sure, send it.
Dave distributing it out to us?
Sure.
Please.
Yeah, yes.
I have a problem with that, but Dave has other suggestions, working with the league and working a different way. We spend a lot of time on our budget, and to just do something like this, not knowing what the cap's going to be.
Well, like I said, Kathy,
It's
I'm
not
not
prudent.
willing to spend more
Yeah.
than 5,000.
Well, it's going to be a lot more than 5,000.
But let's see
So,
if it's
the-
something
So,
worth
Ken,
it.
The
But I think
mayor of
cap it.
Montville at the meeting that I was
Take
at,
precautions.
said, I'll spend the 5,000, even if it doesn't go through Montville, it's the best $5,000 I've ever spent.
But it isn't going to be that, Dave. It's going to be a lot more money than that. And I don't even think it'll be successful. Honestly, the more I read about this, and I'll go out on a limb, we all want to drive our cars. We all want to, heat our house. We all want oil. We don't want trucks on the road flipping over. We don't want trains. Now we don't want pipelines. I haven't really heard from experts from the other side. I sat through the environmental meeting when the pipeline gave their talk, and they had a compelling story. And I know we're all afraid about what may happen, but I don't know enough of the details and the facts to put my name down for or against at this point, honestly. I don't have enough information to make an intelligent decision. I don't want to just do something based on fear. And this is based on fear. I don't have enough information to put my signature one way or another.
Well, I don't think you put your signature, I think you vote.
Well, my vote, either way. I don't have enough information to intelligently, this would be an emotional decision.
It's not, we're not emotional.
And I'm not emotional. I do it based on figures and facts and information. I don't have enough information right now to make a very good decision one way or another.
All right, so why don't we have Ken send the ordinance from Parsippany to here. We have no problem with them building a pipeline anywhere other than here, obviously. Just like everybody has, no problem.
Well, when all the towns stand together,
No, I agree with you,
Right.
Ken. I mean, when you first came to us with your first ordinance, it was a little vague, and we kind of knew it was vague because we do this not for a living, but we've done it for quite some
Well, I
time.
think we should do a sign bar with the
Maybe
sign
the second
organization.
pass at this might be better.
If we're going to do it,
Yeah.
do it.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
like I said, I'm at the point, I shouldn't say I'm at the point, but
I-
I'm not interested in whether you do an ordinance or not.
No, I know you're not. I know. I like seeing you on TV and in the paper, and I see you all over the place. And I said, poor guy, he's all over the place.
Listen, you guys are a piece of cake.
I got a good
Compared
attorney.
to the Bergen County freeholders, you guys are a piece of cake.
When it comes down to the point of the environmental assessment, that might be something we might really want to consider directly.
I agree. When it comes to
That's the
sharing
real fight.
expertise at that level, at that time, that may make some sense.
Was that a topic of discussion at the meeting you went to? Because that's a completely different concept than what was presented.
It's in writing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and see, what happened was
And
they
that
had
costs more money.
I understand it, and I could be wrong because I've gotten bad information third hand on this too. But there was some non-agreement on doing this environmental study, so they didn't want to make it as a specific item in this agreement, and so they kind of buried it in the retainer to give the attorney the authority to do it, okay? But I'm not running that thing, don't ask me,
No,
okay? But that's why I understand, that happened in Parsippany, and it happened in Livingston, where the people who had been to the meetings, and I stood up and talked about the environmental study, and they said, what are you
It's
talking
the deep
about?
pockets.
But that's the most important thing that we are pushing that organization to do.
Which
I
think
don't care
is-
about them doing an ordinance.
Is an avenue that may have, the only chance of stopping.
And that, the total amount of that study is something like $23,000. Sierra Club already kicked in $5,000. So there's $18,000 left, at least in the one that we want to do with Princeton Hydro. And that's got to, and that's it. Beyond that is whatever they want. Look, they're talking about hiring a PR agency,
Right,
which
I
I
heard
think
that.
is insanity. Okay?
That would be a very different agreement, an agreement to fund a study with an absolute price and an absolute contribution.
And some
Right, and an outcome,
specifics.
and an outcome that was specific.
Right.
Yes.
And a study is not taking and advocating a position. A study is learning something, so we are able to go forward and advocate a position. And that's
Right.
much easier for us to, I think, justify. Also in terms of our board keeping their objectivity in case we ever have an application here.
A lot more logically after what we heard at the league meetings.
Yeah.
So my big issue now is this firm seems to be playing both sides. When they were
Especially if it was
at
a
our
separate,
convention,
yeah.
they were definitely for the towns. Saying that, well, they were being honest with us, saying that we couldn't stop it.
They need to make
And now
themselves
they-
viable.
Yeah, we had the same
This guy
concerns.
finished 3 minutes
They're,
yet?
they're,
And-
they're in business to make money.
And evidently, they went to, I guess you weren't at the meeting when the attorney came
No.
and presented. They all thought he was great. I assume he wasn't telling them you don't have a chance. My representative in Parsippany, was a pretty sharp guy, thought this guy was great.
It's a good firm.
I don't
It's a
know.
good firm.
I don't know.
Can I-
It's beyond me, but I can't do anything about it.
Unless you want to take some action tonight, can I suggest that we take the next 2 weeks? The league is really your representative. I mean, I have some contacts there, but the league is
We should reach out.
an entity of elected officials. Can we contact them? I think they would be a much more appropriate entity to quarterback, for lack of a better term, this type of study, and that would retain our impartiality going forward.
I think that's a good idea.
All right.
Right, we'll see what-
Send the ordinance in the meantime, and
Yeah.
then Dave, you're gonna contact them.
Okay.
I will, and I may need you guys to make a couple phone calls.
That's
because-
okay.
Yeah, and if you want, well, it depends on the timing, but if you want to talk to Mayor Harris, well, I guess if you're going to do this thing with the League of Municipalities, but if you wanted to pick up the phone and call Harris and say, I'm in for the environmental study, I want a separate agreement for that or something, great,
Okay.
but tell them what you want and tell them what you don't want, and let them.
I don't want to know.
You
Stay
said,
tuned.
you said the environmental study was how much?
23 cents.
So, the total amount that they
I think
need
they're more than we
to come
do.
up with is $18,000. I think there was another 5 that Sierra Club, got started with. There has not been total clarity that they are going to go with that vendor, that Princeton Hydro, that Sierra Club likes. It's not been clearly managed.
$23,000 for an environmental study on this whole area? I find that kind of, well,
I imagine the focus is on the water
Oh,
crossing.
yeah, they're gonna let the pipeline company do all the work, and they're gonna review it.
Well, nothing against the Sierra Club, but I think if municipalities are going to fund an environmental study, it should not be,
I agree.
cooperatively with the Sierra Club, who clearly has a stated interest.
Well, then you better take their money back and you can go fund the study.
Thank you, Ken.
I would just say, this pipeline is not going to put a drop of oil in your heating tank or your gas tank. It's
I know it's going to go back. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. It goes down and it goes back. But we have a lot of pipelines in New Jersey, and I don't see any problems with them happening on a daily basis.
If you Google the list of pipelines in
Louise,
the
you want us-
21st century, it's 42 pages long.
After Louise, we're gonna take one more comment on the pipeline.
No offense, Bob, but I'm very anti-legal. I did my divorce for $75. Okay?
I wish I
Don't-
had your attorney.
For starters, don't even compare the money that's down in Chatham to the money that's in this town, number one. Number two, Some people say government's too big. Government is not too big. They're there to protect us. This has already gone through the State House. This has already gone through the Assembly. If there's more work to be done, let the legislators that are supposed to be protecting us, they do it. It's on them. We have no business getting involved with the Sierra Club. That's a private organization. They do their thing. They got funding up the wazoo. I am against it. You want to spend $5,000, put it on flooding.
John Bannon, 212 Greenleaf Court, Cedar Crest, as you know. A couple items come up on the end. You brought up the issue that cheap oil and all that. I think the argument is shifting in the last couple of years. It's a question of gas and oil versus pure water. More and more the evidence is that the efforts to bring oil and gas to market is more and more contaminating the drinking water in the United States. It's not well known, but a good part of Iowa has contaminated water. Most people out there are buying bottled water. Why? Because the water has been fouled by the agriculture business. 25 million pigs defecating daily and even more chickens. Now they are controlled by the government if they follow pipelines into certain areas where they're processed. But part of the law doesn't cover when it sinks into the ground where these yards are, and then it goes into the streams and brooks. It goes into the rivers later on. So the result is contaminated water. Besides that, the most precious commodity we have here in northern and southern New Jersey is our water. And the same thing in New York State. That's why Governor Cuomo will not let anybody do fracking and drilling in the Marcellus shale deposits. Pennsylvania does, and they'll reap the benefits of that someday. Reaping the dollar rewards today, but if they want to see what comes down the pike later on, look at Oklahoma. It's now the central greatest earthquake area in the United States, surpassing even California. So what's happening here is not whether it's cheaper to transport oil or gas. We rely on the Highlands area, which includes our area. We're on the periphery of that, and the aquifer down in the Pinelands. There are 7 pipeline issues in New Jersey, only one is oil, the Pilgrim Pipeline. And the thing is, I'm with the mayor on this issue. You'd hate to look up one day and say this thing is going through like an express train and we did nothing. Right now, today, as we sit here, it's a molehill. We better start working on the molehill before this thing becomes a mountain and it's an express train. I agree with a lot of the things you say, Dave, and I spoke to Karen Gentile, who's the head of PHMSA for the whole Northeast in New Jersey, and educated myself in some of the stuff we discussed. However, I've been to a lot of your meetings, and I know you have passed ordinances and whatever you call resolutions to purchase properties and to this and that. And I don't have to mention what the properties are, and they're open-ended. You're buying them, but you're opening yourself up to more expenses down the line. One of them which I approve buying myself as a citizen is the Martin Berry House. Now, they don't have any foundation behind them. And there's a lot of enthusiasm for people who volunteer and do work and contribute money. But what happens when those people get too old? If you don't have somebody with financial backing behind you, it's going to be a different story 10 to 20 years down the line. We're asking for $5,000. And why am I here? Does it require an approval by the council for the mayor to approve a $5,000 expenditure?
Absolutely.
It isn't. What's the threshold?
What's the threshold? 3 votes.
Every dollar.
No, I mean the threshold dollar.
There is 150 cents.
$1? Okay, I'm happy to learn that. Well, anyway, I'm with the mayor. I think $5,000 isn't that much money when you think about what is before us down the hook. Once this thing gets rolling, and you all know from your prior history, or if you know the history of this town, 287 was never scheduled to go through here. We are overwhelmed by political entities further east. And some of the people that were active there live with me upstate. I got chapter and verse on how they did it. They were a bigger political entity, and what they did to stop it from going through Wayne. And we're a little bitty town here. It's a beautiful town, fourth ratest town quality-wise in the state, as you know. But I think we're crazy. This is a small amount of money to put in at this point, and let them figure out what procedures they want to take to go forward. The League of the Municipalities is very good, but they've made decisions already, and they say the law in this is very opaque. Is that going to be on the top of their agenda? I don't think so. I think if it's up to you folks to decide this, which would be the most effective entity to go forward in this. A new group under this new suggestion that you brought up, Dave, or go through the League of Municipalities. I side with Dave. I think you ought to take a step now, while this is a little problem, even though it might seem bigger than it is. Thank you. Now, on the other issue, you suggested that when Dave, Nat Arkham was here, that we take the issue of the violation of the master planning board plans to go to the planning board. Come to find out there's not going to be any planning board meeting until June.
Really? That's the first I'm hearing of it.
Well,
I'm on the planning board, but
I
thanks for letting
understand
me
that
know.
person, Jill Hartman. And you two gentlemen are the liaisons there. When's the next effective meeting that the public is invited to?
Last Monday was a meeting,
Yeah,
and probably will be the third Monday of June.
but I've heard before through experience, when you decide there's nothing worth talking about, you don't show up. So, as you know, last year that happened. So,
It's not that we
is
don't
June?
show up.
Can we count on June if we come to a meeting on that?
You've got to check to make sure there's something on the agenda.
Well, we'd like to be on the agenda.
I don't think they're gonna have the meeting for you, but
Why not?
they're not. They're just going. They have a meeting to listen to, applications, that's what it's about. And when we're listening to applications, we open it up to the public, and at that point, you can make whatever you want to say.
Where does one discuss what the master plan is for Pequannock? Who do you go to then? We came here and you suggested you go to the planning
You're
board.
on the planning board,
You
aren't
go
you?
to the planning board.
Planning
The
board.
only
Yeah,
negative about opening it up is the firm that we want to hire were the ones who specifically said, if you have a pipeline in your town, identify it, so any new pipeline will follow that course.
yeah.
That would be the recommended change for the master plan. And
So-
that was a firm that you want us to join.
So that's,
Their suggestion that if you already have a pipeline,
yeah.
you want to make sure you identify it on the town map, the official map. So
It is
the new
on-
pipeline will follow the same route.
Which is right through our property,
Right, which I don't
1,047
think
feet.
is the
So what do you
course wanna
suggest
go
we
to.
do here at this point?
Right, I don't know if that's the course you really want to.
We don't want it at all.
Here's what you should do, contact Linda at the planning board,
Yeah,
and tell her that the next meeting that we have an application,
Mhm.
that you want to come in and talk about the master plan, that's all.
okay.
She'll put it on the schedule.
Now, the other issue that I spoke on is the Spectra people.
Is this still the
And I-
pipeline?
Yeah, this is the
This is a
gas,
different pipeline.
Different pipeline.
if I can bring it up. I appreciate you giving me time to talk to. I talked to Karen Gentili, who's the PHMSA head for this region, the Northeast and New Jersey and Pennsylvania. And I'm trying to get the enabling legislation. I was surprised that they passed a law making this a high consequent area, including your neck of the woods there, I think, or the Glens where you used to live.
I'm still almost right next to the Glens.
And but they didn't say what they specifically have to do. Spectra hasn't gotten back to me, but we still would like the town to go forward with us to ask that automatic gas cutoff switches would be installed, if not in the Cedar Crest portion, but in the Pequannock portion.
Yeah, we said we would be more than happy to
So,
reach out to them.
talking to you again, Dave.
And I received a copy of the letter you sent. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for your time.
All right, next on the agenda is reports and notices. Does council have any comments on the report we have? No? Next on the agenda is manager's report, Mr. Holbert.
Okay, bids were open for the Boulevard Sidewalk project.
We already talked about that.
We did, so I'm going to skip over that. Township will have access to the Everbridge notification system through Morris County. Chris went to some training today on that. This is a text and telephone notification system similar to the Honeywell format that has been used by the Board of Education. It will be available for non-emergency notifications. Pre-design meeting for the elevated water tank was held last week. Concept drawings for 2 locations on that site will be prepared for council's next meeting. Residents were invited to attend an information meeting regarding the FMA elevation grant application last Monday. 20 homeowners have submitted required information to be included in the grant. We're working with Tetra Tech to complete the township submission to the state. Their deadline is next week. Underground Utilities needs to complete some curb restoration along Jackson Avenue before it can be resurfaced. We anticipate that Jackson Avenue will be complete by the end of May.
How about the village?
That's going to take a little bit longer. Curbing and drainage. We separated Jackson Ave out because it's a mess and it's more highly traveled and
The village is a mess too, Dave.
it's all a mess. But I'm getting a lot more complaints about Jackson Ave, so we're trying to push that.
Do you think the village will get redone this year?
Oh yeah.
You have a rough idea, June, July, August?
I'm going to say summer. Joe's working on bid specs. It does have to go out to bid. It's a large project.
Paving or for the curbing is part of the...
Yeah, the curbing is going to be done by underground. The paving, we're going to use a process called reclamation to be able to provide a standard width surface throughout because there's been so many trenches and so much digging, we don't want it to settle. So we're using a slightly different process that Joe is comfortable with. It's really going to depend on the availability of contractors because it's not standard mill and pave. Okay. So we're hoping July, August. But it will be by the end of the year.
Next on the agenda is council reports and announcements. Councilwoman Florence Lynch.
Dave, I had a question for you. At the last library board meeting, we discussed, you know how the library board had the the temporary sign at the end of the driveway to advertise programs and whatnot. Well, they had to throw it away. It was so old. They would like to, we've been researching a little bit about getting a permanent sign. And I just want to make sure I'm giving them the right information. You know, we looked up the ordinances. Would they be able to get a sign, not a digital sign?
Right.
I was waiting. I was
No,
waiting.
we have no desire for that. Just, they'll change the letters or whatever.
They can take the Board of Ed's old one.
And what? The Board of Ed, no, so I told them, we pulled up,
Why
I
buy
got
one?
the procedures for them. They have to pull a permit, you gotta make sure it's the right size, all
Don't
that
they have to
good
come to
stuff.
the
I guess, who should I point them to as far as,
Just have Rose talk to
not Rose, Debbie?
Debbie. Bring one. Have her talk to Jill Hartman.
Right, okay, that's what I told her, okay.
They have to
wasn't sure
come
if she
in
had
front
to
of
go-
the planning board.
Well, I said to her, she might have to go in front of the planning board, but she just wanted to know where to start, so.
There you go, John.
Send her over there.
Planning.
It looks like we got something for the
Have her
planning
call
board.
Linda. Jill's in on Wednesdays.
But what happened with the digital sign with the Board of Ed at the planning board? Because honestly, they could have their old sign.
I think
They
it's
should
gonna
talk to them.
What's that?
What'd you do?
The digital sign for the high school?
They
Yeah,
approved
it's
it.
passed.
Yeah.
But really,
I was just
Debbie
thinking
should
that
talk
sounds
to
fine
the,
today,
to the Board of Ed, or talk to someone.
Can they be reused?
Why not?
That sign's falling apart. The Board of Ed, you don't want that.
The one by the high school?
All right, so anyway,
It's a
I'll
bad
point her in
shape.
the direction of Jill. I gave her some guidelines, but I wasn't sure if you had to go to like Butler sign and have them like do something.
Butler sign, yeah.
Is that who we usually use,
Uh-huh.
Butler sign?
Well, they can use whoever
Well, it's
they
good to
want.
bid it out. It's good to
Everybody
get it
uses
involved.
Butler
Well, they
sign.
will, but I
they-
said I know that's one that the town uses.
When we've done quotes in the past, Butler has come in
Okay,
very competitive. I would encourage her to get a couple quotes.
okay.
If she wants to give me a call, she should call planning. They're quasi-government, so
Right, okay.
Sure.
EDC is meeting tomorrow night, economic development, and Louise already gave our report, so I'll wait and give her a report later. And after the meeting, I don't really have anything else. Oh, except that we might want to mention the Canadian geese adling.
No, Dave's email address was wrong on it,
Was
that's why
it?
he never got it, so I
Okay.
just forwarded it to him,
Good.
because I asked him before the meeting if he got it, and he knew nothing
All right.
about it.
They just want, the group that will do the egg adling, they just wanted to know, can they, they're here to do it, what should they do? Do they need to just contact you or? Okay.
Yeah,
They try,
the same process we've used in the past. I know there's a specific time frame that they need to do that, so
And just for clarification, have we been able to get on Berdan's property for this in the past? I thought he refused.
I know we did in the beginning. I don't know.
I know.
Refuse.
He would be foolish to refuse, I guess.
Well, now he would be.
Yeah, he'd be foolish.
But before he was building, I think he refused.
Ooh, he'd be foolish now.
we have in the past. I think the issue, and I don't recall if it was last year or before that, after they had done a lot of the clearing, there were no geese there. We had gone, someone had gone to do the survey of where the geese were, and there weren't any.
Okay.
I'm sure we can get access to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially.
All right.
They're in a lake.
Anything else, Melissa?
No.
Councilman Phelan?
I want to congratulate's one word. The first aid squad and the fire companies did an excellent job with that search that they did the other day.
Yeah.
Which, those guys were out all night. In fact, one of them works for me, and he came in and he fell asleep, but that's besides the point. And then you also had the fire on 30 Roosevelt, which they did a fantastic job on that one too, stopping that fire. That, of course, I get the story from the guy who works for me, that they put the ashes next to the house and so on,
They
etc.
did.
But
I went down there because I sold that house and I was like, what happened? But it had a fire pit and they put the stuff in the garbage pail.
But we have an excellent first aid squad and an excellent two fire companies that do a phenomenal job, and most people are not aware of what they actually do out there. So I just want to reach out or say good things about them. What's that?
I agree, they're very good.
They're very good. Ex-chiefs are in this room, and
Councilman Vanhoff?
Since the last council meeting, have you reached out to Newbridge?
I haven't. I've been trying to get a hold of park rooms.
I understand the problem may be a little bit more widespread than
Yes.
what we've heard.
Yeah.
So,
A bunch of different things have come together that all kind of make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that meeting is imperative that we get it going.
Yes.
Not good.
Anything else? Oh, Councilwoman Winterfield?
On number 2 on your report, Dave, on the notification system, are we going to utilize that? Is it an opt-in type thing?
It is. I will have a more full report in the coming week.
Okay, all right. Also, we were going to set up a workshop about the utilities. Are we going to try to put something on our calendars? Because I know it's difficult with trying to get everybody's calendars.
Yeah, I'm
Float a
going to
couple
need
dates.
to gather dates for both our visitation to neighboring towns for redevelopment and evening meeting for sewer.
Okay,
So we'll try for both for May.
okay. And I know that you had worked, Kristen, you worked on the Morris County grant for the sewer, getting all the update information, all that. And it seems as though did we get everything we need to send out to the people?
Did he get back to you with new income eligibility?
It should be posted on the website. I'll check tomorrow.
Okay. I know there was a link issue, which I
Yeah, it was
think,
very difficult to find,
Yeah.
yeah.
so I think we've got that resolved, and the letter that I'm going to be doing to the sewer area, the village area, will be going out next week.
So it looks as though that will qualify for the hookup
Connection
connection?
and the contractor costs,
Okay, all right.
but not the assessment.
Okay, but that looks like they put income requirements, but it must be, there's another application behind the scene, but they only give that to you if you, I don't know what their vetting process is. We should try and get a copy of that application just so we could read through it. I mean, I don't want to step on their toes or get in the way, but I do want to assist as much as possible.
All right, they did ask us to wait until they had the new income eligibility before we did anything, so as soon as we have that.
Because you're going to do a mailing in May, right?
Yeah, I was hoping to do that next week.
Okay. But you want to make sure you have that in there.
Yeah.
Okay. And you said you might look for something else for the people, too? Did you have another idea for some other kind of money?
Yes, but it was
Didn't
not.
pan out?
No.
Okay. All right. And then my last question, Dave, is I know you were working on some interlocal services, possibly, with Riverdale. Did any of that come to fruition? Or any
No,
positive thoughts?
I had a couple conversations with some of their new council people for a year, and we never got together, so I'll follow up. And,
Yeah.
they've been busy, and we've been busy, so.
Yeah. Okay. Now that's all I have. Nothing else.
There's an Eagle Scout ceremony this Sunday at 2 o'clock at the First Reformed Church. There's also one on May 15th at the First Reformed Church at 2 o'clock. If any council members are available, it'd be greatly appreciated if you could join me.
Why is it two separate ones, Dave? Two different troops, or?
Do not know. So both the same troop, I believe, 144.
You know, is it at 2? I have it at 1 on my calendar.
2 o'clock.
Okay.
I'm almost positive. This one is this one is for May 15th, and this says 2 o'clock, and I believe
I'm talking the May 1st.
the May 1st one said 2 o'clock also.
Yeah.
All right.
And Fair Housing will meet tomorrow night. That's all I have.
Steve, I'm going to shoot you an email to remind you, I'm not here at the next council meeting.
Yep.
So shoot everybody.
Can I give you a council report?
No.
No, I already gave the report.
No, at the next meeting.
Sure.
Next on the agenda is public comment. If anyone wishes to address the council, please wait to be recognized. Come to the microphone and provide your name and address for the record.
Stephen Connolly, 44 Duncan Avenue. Just wanted to say thank you for allocating money in the budget for the skate park design. It is in here, I assume, right?
It's in small print somewhere.
I couldn't find it, but
It's actually.
I know it's not broken out, so.
Which takes another step after this, but.
Oh,
yes,
so we're not there yet. So.
Oh, we're not there yet. Okay. When will we be there?
Well, we're going to adopt the municipal budget in 2 weeks,
Oh, so that's the municipal budget.
the May 10th.
Okay.
At the same night, we'll introduce the capital ordinances which provide funding for capital projects.
Ah, okay.
So, two more weeks.
Okay. And, sorry. When will we hear feedback on the location designation that we recommended? Or a public hearing, or is there anything?
That's a good question, Steve.
Right. Why don't we, I'll tell you what, why don't we put it on for discussion at the next meeting?
Yeah, that's a good
Okay. Great.
Some discussion, make sure you're available.
At the next,
Yeah.
this,
The rate you're going, you're gonna be here every meeting.
I'm available. Don't worry about it. All right, great. Thank you.
Mike, is that what you're looking at there?
Don't think Donald Trump.
No, this is Mike Virginia, 8 Reynolds Road. I was reading the ordinance that you passed about the sump pumps, and my house doesn't have a sump pump. But reading it, I understand the purpose, what you're doing it for, but it just sounds like you're requiring a government official to enter people's house, or else you're going to fine us $600 a year. I know it's not spun that way.
Because we're probably spending more than that in the treatment of the sewage.
No, I understand your purpose, but as a principle, the fact that I have to let an official into my house is kind of against
You know what?
all the rights.
You don't have to worry because you don't have a sump pump, right?
But they're still going to want to come inspect it.
Exactly. Because
No.
he has sewers.
Oh,
Yeah.
you have sewers. You have a basement?
Yeah.
No.
You have sewers, right, Mike, at Reynolds? Yeah. So they're coming in.
Well,
So
You don't have to let him in.
No, you don't have to let them in, but
then I have.
Yeah,
then you're going
And you
to
pay the
get,
surcharge.
the presumption is that you're putting extra water into the sewer system.
Well, I know, but it's not really. You don't have to presume that. It's just that maybe some people feel like the government should stay out of their house. It's a right of every American. but
In this particular case, you missed some of the meetings where I was arguing.
no, I was at them.
Okay.
But
I'm
and
supposed to
again, I understand why, and I think it'll be a benefit for the town. But sometimes you have to decide what's better for the town or for the country. Or
How else do you propose that we
I don't-
find out if they have a sump pump that's going into the sewer, sanitary sewer?
I don't have the answer to that. But it's a reason to infringe on the rights of the Americans. Don't know. But that's all I'm just
I
saying.
don't want to infringe
Thank you.
upon the rights of everyone
I'll
else.
tell you what, why don't we just ask people if they have it hooked up? No, I don't have it hooked up.
Have a good night.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mike.
Should have stuck with
Anyone
the
else
fence.
with public comment?
That's a good point.
All right, next on the agenda is, there's minutes for approval, April 12th, 2016. Anyone like to
Make a motion.
make a
I'll
motion?
make a motion to approve the minutes from April 12th, 2000.
I'll second it.
There you go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Next on the agenda is item for closed session.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, folks, we're going into closed session.